Forget everything you've been told about attraction. Machiavelli discovered something most men will never notice, a hidden mental system that controls desire without anyone realizing it. It doesn't matter how good you look or what you say. The brain responds to signals, emotions, and hidden triggers, and when used correctly, it makes a woman naturally drawn, even obsessed. This isn't about manipulation in the obvious sense. It's about understanding how human attraction actually works. In this video, I will reveal Machiavelli's forbidden mind control secrets about women. Secrets so subtle most people never see them, yet they silently shape desire every day. Once you see them, you'll never view attraction the same way again. The hidden truth. Most men think attraction is simple. They believe that if a woman notices them, it's because of charm, money, or looks. They think that a clever compliment, a stylish outfit, or a confident smile will automatically make her heart race. They are wrong. Machiavelli, the master of human psychology and observation, understood something that almost no one else did. He saw what really makes a woman drawn to a man, and it has very little to do with what most men focus on. He observed the royal courts, watching kings, princes, nobles, and the powerful women around them. He didn't watch for love stories, romance, or obvious attraction. He watched for patterns in human behavior, especially how women reacted to men they found compelling. And what he saw was shocking. Women were drawn not to appearances or words alone, but to subtle signals their brains were receiving, signals they didn't even consciously notice. A woman's mind reacts before she even realizes it. Her emotions, her desire, her attention, all follow hidden patterns that most men will never see. This is the part most men completely miss. They think attraction is something they can earn with effort or charm. But the truth is far deeper. Machiavelli realized that there is a hidden system in the brain, an invisible set of rules that governs how desire grows. This system is always active. It constantly scans for patterns, evaluates subtle behavior, and decides who a woman will feel drawn to. And it is not logical, it is emotional. A woman may feel pulled toward a man even if she can't explain why. She may be thinking about him without knowing what triggered it. She may find herself intrigued, curious, or even obsessed, all because of these invisible mental signals. These signals are not about manipulation in the obvious sense. They don't require lies, tricks, or fake confidence. They are natural. They exist in every human brain, and they respond to certain cues that Machiavelli carefully observed. For centuries, the most successful men understood these cues, even if they never put them into words. They didn't need to force attention or demand affection. They moved subtly, spoke subtly, and acted in ways that activated these hidden psychological patterns. And women, without realizing it, followed their lead. Think of it like a river. On the surface, the water moves slowly, with visible ripples and waves. But beneath the surface, there are currents, fast and strong, moving in ways you can't see. Most men are only aware of the surface, the smile, the compliment, the flashy display. But Machiavelli watched the currents. He saw how a woman's mind responds to emotional undercurrents, to small gestures, to signals of calm confidence, mystery, and emotional balance. These are the things that matter far more than charm, money, or looks. When a man understands this hidden system, he can act in harmony with it. He can influence attraction quietly and naturally, without forcing anything or seeming fake. A woman will feel drawn to him as if it were instinct, as if she had no choice, even though no one is controlling her. This is the genius of Machiavelli's observation. Attraction is not a battle of words or appearances, it is a subtle interplay of psychological signals that speak directly to the mind. Most men will never notice these patterns. They waste time trying to impress with obvious gestures, flashy displays, or empty compliments. They fail to see that a woman's mind is already scanning, evaluating, and reacting to the hidden forces around her. But those who understand the system, those who learn the subtle cues, the hidden signals, the patterns of behavior, can create an almost invisible influence. It is quiet, powerful, and effective. And once you understand it, you see the truth. Attraction is not random. It is a science. A dark, fascinating science of human emotion, behavior, and psychology. In this video, we will explore these hidden forces. We will uncover the secrets Machiavelli discovered centuries ago and show how they still work today. You will see how a woman's mind reacts to subtle patterns, why desire grows in ways most men never understand, and how you can align with these forces naturally. This is not about cheating, lying, or forcing someone. It is about understanding how attraction really works, so you see women, relationships, and desire in a way that most men never will. Once you understand this hidden system, you will never look at attraction the same way again. How the mind works. Machiavelli noticed something most men completely miss. A woman's emotions are not simple, and they are not always visible. He compared them to water in a river. On the surface, the water seems calm or perhaps rippling. You see the waves, you see the splashes, but beneath the surface, there are currents moving in ways you cannot detect. These currents are strong, consistent, and invisible. A woman's mind works the same way. What she shows on the surface, her smile, her words, her reactions, is only a small part of what is really happening inside. The true movement of attraction, curiosity, and desire happens underneath, quietly, without anyone noticing. Most men focus on the wrong things. They think that gifts, clever lines, or charm are what make a woman feel drawn. They see a laugh, a compliment, or a kind gesture, and they assume it caused the attraction. But Machiavelli understood that the visible actions are just the surface splash. The real influence happens in the hidden currents of her mind, triggered by subtle cues, small gestures, and the way emotions are handled. These signals reach her brain before she even realizes it, before she can label what she is feeling. He observed that small behaviors can create massive effects in a woman's mind. The tone of your voice, a brief look, the way you hold your body. These things send signals that her subconscious notices immediately. They tell her whether you are confident, calm, attentive, or mysterious. They convey emotional stability, intelligence, and even dominance without saying a word. A woman's brain picks up on these signals and begins responding naturally. This is not something she consciously decides. She doesn't think, "I'm attracted because he did X." It happens beneath her awareness, as if her emotions are following an invisible blueprint that has existed for centuries. Machiavelli saw that these psychological patterns are universal. They are not limited to a particular culture, a certain woman, or even a specific time period. Women across centuries and societies respond to these patterns instinctively. That is why some men appear effortlessly attractive, even when they are not particularly handsome or rich. Their actions, their gestures, and their presence align with these hidden currents. They create a ripple in a woman's mind that draws her closer, even if she cannot explain why she feels that pull. It's also important to understand that the mind works in layers. Surface-level gestures like compliments and gifts create temporary reactions. A laugh, a smile, or attention can make a woman momentarily notice a man. But the deeper currents, the tone, subtle body language, calm confidence, and unpredictability create lasting influence. These are the cues that make a woman think about someone when he is not there, feel drawn toward him naturally, and even experience curiosity or emotional attachment without realizing why. A woman does not fall for charm alone. She does not decide to be attracted consciously. Instead, her brain reads patterns, evaluates subtle behaviors, and responds emotionally. Machiavelli described these patterns centuries ago, long before modern psychology could explain them. He noticed that women react to hidden signals, not surface-level gestures. Understanding these patterns is the key to influence, not control, not manipulation in the obvious sense, but alignment with the natural flow of her emotions and subconscious evaluation. Most men fail because they ignore these hidden currents. They overdo gestures, over-explain, or try to force a reaction. They expect a woman to respond to obvious actions, not realizing her subconscious is already evaluating far deeper patterns. Machiavelli's observation teaches that if you understand these currents, you can move with them instead of against them. Your gestures, tone, and presence can create ripples that subtly guide a woman's attention and desire. She will feel naturally drawn, intrigued, and even obsessed without anyone noticing the influence. In simple terms, the brain is always reading signals. A woman's mind reacts to tone, energy, and subtle actions before she even understands her own feelings. Attraction is not random or purely conscious. It follows patterns, and these patterns have existed for centuries. A man who understands them can influence her emotions quietly and effectively. Machiavelli's insight reveals that the mind, not charm or gifts, is the real battlefield of attraction. Once you see this, you understand why some men appear effortlessly irresistible, because they act in harmony with the hidden currents of the mind, and women respond naturally, almost instinctively. The subtle influence. Here's the truth most men never understand. Influence is quiet. It doesn't shout, demand, or show off. Most men think that to attract a woman, they need to be loud, flashy, or make grand gestures. They believe a bold compliment, a gift, or a clever line will immediately spark desire. Machiavelli noticed that something entirely different. True influence doesn't scream. It whispers. It moves subtly, like a shadow in a room that a woman can sense but cannot fully see. Influence is in how you make her feel without forcing it. It is in creating a sense of understanding and emotional connection without over-explaining or trying too hard. When a man can calmly observe, listen, and respond in small, thoughtful ways, he activates something deep in a woman's mind, a recognition that feels natural, safe, and intriguing all at once. She doesn't realize it at first, but her mind starts to pay attention. Her curiosity grows, her interest deepens, and over time, she feels drawn to him in ways that seem instinctive, even magical. Machiavelli studied the most powerful men in history, and he saw that these men never tried to force women to like them. They didn't bribe, flatter, or overperform. Instead, they understood the hidden mental systems at play in the human mind. They acted in alignment with these unseen currents. Their calm confidence, subtle attention, and strategic unpredictability created influence without obvious effort. Women, without consciously realizing it, felt drawn, intrigued, and sometimes even obsessed. This was not manipulation in a cruel or obvious sense. It was a mastery of psychology, subtle and invisible. The way a man behaves, even in small ways, sends signals a woman's mind notices immediately. A slight pause in conversation, a carefully timed glance, a calm tone in the voice, all of these tiny actions ripple through her subconscious. She begins to perceive him as confident, mysterious, and emotionally stable. She senses value in him without knowing why. And because these signals are subtle and indirect, they bypass the conscious mind and speak directly to her emotions. Machiavelli recognized that this is the real source of attraction. Most men overcomplicate things. They try to force attention with jokes, gifts, or flashy displays. They fail to see that women respond more strongly to subtle influence than overt attempts at attraction. A woman's mind is always scanning, always evaluating, always reacting, but she reacts to patterns, not to obvious attempts at charm. This is why some men seem effortlessly magnetic. They don't try hard. They move naturally, quietly, and predictably unpredictable. And the effect is profound. A woman feels a pull toward them without ever fully understanding why. Machiavelli observed that the balance of calm confidence and subtle unpredictability is critical. Too predictable, and a woman's interest wanes. Too chaotic, and she feels uncertain or unsafe. But the right balance, small gestures of attention, moments of mystery, quiet self-assuredness, creates a deep emotional resonance. Her mind begins to follow his rhythm. Her attention lingers even when he is not around. Her curiosity grows, and her desire begins to feel almost automatic. The key lesson is this: influence is invisible, but it is extremely powerful. A man who understands how to activate these subtle currents can guide attraction naturally. Women do not consciously feel controlled, and that is why it works so effectively. They feel intrigued, drawn, and emotionally engaged without realizing the influence is happening. This is the genius of Machiavelli's insight. Attraction is not a result of effort or force. It is a result of alignment with hidden psychological patterns that a woman's mind responds to instinctively. Most men will never see this. They try to impress with noise, overexcitement, or grand gestures. They misunderstand the quiet, subtle nature of true influence. But when a man learns to whisper rather than shout, When he aligns with the hidden currents of a woman's mind, he activates fascination, intrigue, and attraction on a level that seems effortless. A woman feels naturally pulled toward him, her emotions responding to patterns that have existed for centuries. And once you understand this subtle influence, you will never view attraction the same way again. Emotional triggers. Machiavelli understood something that most men completely miss. Attraction is not random. A woman's mind responds to specific emotional triggers, invisible forces that spark curiosity, intrigue, and desire. These triggers are not about charm, money, or looks alone. They are subtle, psychological cues that reach deep into her subconscious, influencing how she feels before she even realizes it. When a man understands these triggers, he does not manipulate or force a woman. Instead, he speaks directly to the deepest layers of her mind, and she naturally follows the pull. The first trigger is curiosity. A woman is naturally drawn to mystery and unpredictability. If a man is completely predictable, she loses interest quickly. But when he shows glimpses of depth, intelligence, or uniqueness, without revealing everything at once, her mind begins to notice, analyze, and follow him. She thinks about him even when he is not around. This is why subtle behavior is so important. A small smile, a thoughtful comment, or a brief pause in conversation can spark curiosity. Machiavelli noticed that women are more fascinated by men who are slightly mysterious than those who are obvious or loud. The second trigger is tension. Emotional tension is different from stress. It is the subtle push and pull between presence and absence, attention and restraint. When a man does not give everything at once, when he maintains a calm, confident, and slightly unpredictable energy, a woman feels a magnetic pull. She begins to wonder about him. Her mind naturally works to understand him. She experiences emotional engagement without even realizing why. Machiavelli called this one of the silent forces of influence because it works invisibly and powerfully. The third trigger is unpredictability. Women respond strongly to subtle changes in behavior, tone, or attention. If a man is completely consistent and predictable, her emotions plateau. But small, controlled unpredictability, like a different topic of conversation, a playful comment, or a shift in energy, activates the part of her mind that craves stimulation. She begins to pay attention more deeply, noticing patterns, analyzing behavior, and thinking about him often. This is not about being fake or manipulative, it's about understanding that the human mind responds to variety and subtle shifts. The fourth trigger is subtle validation. Women respond positively when they feel seen, understood, and valued. But it must be understated. Overpraising or obvious flattery triggers skepticism. Instead, quiet acknowledgement, genuine interest, and careful attention to small details signal to her mind that she matters. These cues reach her subconscious and create emotional resonance. Machiavelli observed that this type of influence was far more powerful than gifts, charm, or superficial compliments. A woman naturally feels drawn to a man who validates her subtly without making it obvious. Machiavelli realized that these triggers, curiosity, tension, unpredictability, and subtle validation, are stronger than any visible charm or physical attractiveness. A woman may notice an attractive appearance first, but her deeper desire and interest are shaped by these psychological forces. When a man learns to activate these triggers responsibly, he aligns with the hidden currents of attraction. He does not need to manipulate in a fake way. He simply communicates on a level her mind naturally responds to. The key is subtlety. A woman's mind is constantly scanning for patterns, signals, and emotional cues. If a man bombards her with attention, jokes, or gifts, he bypasses the hidden system and the effect fades. But when he moves with awareness of emotional triggers, he taps directly into the subconscious processes that guide attraction. She begins to think about him, remember him, and feel drawn to him even in his absence. Her mind follows the pull naturally, without pressure or force. Machiavelli described these forces centuries ago, long before modern psychology could explain them. He saw that women respond more strongly to mental cues than to obvious charm or physical appearance. Once you understand these triggers, you gain the ability to influence attraction ethically and naturally. A woman will feel intrigued, emotionally engaged, and genuinely drawn, all because you understand how her mind works, not because you try to force her feelings. These emotional triggers are subtle, powerful, and timeless. They have existed across centuries and cultures, guiding human behavior quietly but decisively. When you master them, you see attraction not as random or unfair, but as a system, a hidden map of the mind that, when navigated wisely, draws women naturally toward you. Machiavelli's insight shows that true influence is invisible, and that the deepest desires in a woman's mind are shaped by patterns most men will never notice. Why most men fail? Most men fail when it comes to attraction because they ignore the hidden patterns in a woman's mind. They think a woman will notice them because of charm, gifts, or status. They believe that if they over-explain themselves, over-promise, or try too hard, a woman will feel drawn. But Machiavelli noticed something centuries ago that most men still do not understand. Women sense more than what is obvious. Even if she cannot explain why, a woman notices tension, effort, and noise. She feels it in subtle ways, and it affects her attraction. Men often overwhelm women with attention or try to impress too visibly. They flood conversations with compliments, gifts, or stories about themselves. They try to control the impression she forms. But a woman's mind reacts to subtle signals, not noise. She is naturally drawn to calm confidence, authenticity, and gestures that match her subconscious desires. When a man ignores this, the attraction fades, no matter how charming or attractive he thinks he is. Machiavelli's secret was simple yet powerful. Understand the unseen currents of the mind and let them work for you. Influence does not come from overdoing anything. It comes from aligning your behavior with the hidden emotional patterns a woman responds to. Small gestures, quiet confidence, subtle attention, and unpredictability all create ripples in her mind. These are signals she notices subconsciously, and they guide her thoughts and feelings naturally. A woman responds far more to authenticity combined with subtle psychological influence than to flashy displays of effort. She notices a man who understands her mind without forcing it. Once a man sees this, he realizes that attraction is not about doing more, but about doing the right things in the right way. He begins to guide attention, curiosity, and desire effortlessly. The unseen mental currents do the work, and a woman's mind naturally follows. The men who fail keep trying to control what they cannot see. The men who succeed quietly work with what they understand, the deep, hidden patterns of attraction. And that is why some men appear effortlessly magnetic while most struggle endlessly. Machiavelli's insight is clear. Stop overdoing it, align with the invisible patterns, and watch a woman's attention and desire grow naturally. The takeaway. So, what does this all mean for you? A woman is not a puzzle you need to solve, nor a prize you need to win. She is a mind reacting to invisible signals, emotions, and subtle patterns. Machiavelli's mind control secrets reveal that attraction is quiet, unseen, and powerful. Learn these secrets, understand them, and you will never see women the same way again. Desire is not magic, it is psychology. Dark, fascinating, and extremely effective. If you want to master the hidden patterns of attraction and understand how a woman's mind really works, hit that subscribe button now. Turn on notifications because in the next videos, I'll reveal even more dark psychology secrets that most men will never learn. Don't miss this. Your understanding of attraction will never be the same again.